Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel Dawn of War. And if you were here yesterday, well firstly I hope you remembered to like and subscribe. 2 of you did, or you subscribed at least, nobody liked the video. But if you were here before and you did do that, thank you. But you will have seen a video that I made yesterday on the Black Templars, and this article that's on the screen that was posted up on the Warcom website yesterday, and it was one that was expected because the Black Templars had been revealed on Sunday as being the next pre-order. So they go on pre-order this coming Saturday, and as normally happens, then the next Monday the Games Workshop will start putting out more in-depth articles to try and hype up whatever the pre-order is, to get people interested. And so they give you little snippets of rules and abilities and try and get you interested and give you little teasers about what's coming. So I made that video, and then I talked about a little bit about some of the leaks that had come out and were out there in the on the internet. And then since then, something a bit weird has happened because, and this is a very late video for me. It's like 1:30 in the morning and I have work in a few hours, but I felt like I had to make this video because I've been able to get my hands on what I think is the Black Templar's Codex. So somebody provided me with what appears to be a legitimate soft copy of the Black Templar Codex. Now, what do I do with this information? Firstly, I spent about an hour skimming through it and trying to digest everything that's new in the Codex. What I'll say off the bat is I think some of the leaks that have come out are not right, and they're either wrong totally, or they've only reported on sort of half the picture. So it actually made the faction look a lot worse than I think it is. And just through sort of having a quick read through, I can already see that there's lots of different interesting combinations, and I think there's going to be quite a lot of play and very thematic and potent army combinations that will be available to the Black Templars now. So I'm excited about this. I'm much more positive about the Codex than I was when I first read the few leaks that came out. So, and I want to share this with everybody. I want you to be excited about the greatest faction in Warhammer as well. But what to do? Now, I could just get this and dump it onto Reddit, and I'm sure it would get like 1 million views. I could video myself, I don't know, or I could upload it and make a video going through the data sheets or something, but I don't know. I just don't feel that that's really right to do that. Certainly not at this stage. I mean, it's 2 weeks until the Codex launches. It hasn't even come out on pre-order yet, and so what to do? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through the army rules in the context of this article that dropped yesterday, and I'm going to discuss the stratagems and the enhancements, etc. And then what I'm going to do is what I've done is I've pulled up the data sheets, the 16 Black Templar data sheets that were old data sheets from the old Codex. I've pulled them up on New Recruit, which, if you don't know, is a website for list building. So I've got those data sheets, and I'm going to put them on the screen, and then I'm going to talk through what's changed. And of course, I'm going to discuss the 2 new data sheets as well, which are the Execrator and the Crusade Ancient. And so I think that's probably the best thing to do. And you can take it with a pinch of salt. You can believe what I'm saying or not. Either way, it might give you some ideas. You might listen to this video and get more excited about the faction. Maybe you suddenly want to buy 3 Land Raider Crusaders and you didn't ever think about buying them before, that kind of thing. Maybe you can spot some great combinations that I won't have spotted or even thought about yet. And maybe we can just get some conversation going and some excitement going about this new Codex for when it really finally releases, and then hopefully it will be as I've predicted. Otherwise, egg on my face. But that's what I'm going to do, and I hope that that's a fair compromise, and I hope that people enjoy the video, and people are excited about Black Templars as I am now. So without any further ado, I will get rid of my ugly mug. We will go straight on to this article, which we went through yesterday, and we will proceed with the army rules. So this is exactly as Games Workshop revealed yesterday. These are the four Templar vows that are part of the new army rule. There's not much really to add. They look like they've printed them for us or published them for us wholesale. So you're not missing anything there. And then the heirs of Sigismund. It's interesting because you look through this and yes, it's all exactly as it should be, but I can't help noticing that they missed off from the bottom here one more data sheet, and that is Terminator Squad. You cannot take a Terminator Squad, and I'll tell you why, because you can take Black Templar Terminator Squads now, and we will get to those in due course. So they went through this, the Vindication Task Force, and then they mentioned a bit about they mentioned about the others, didn't they, as well? I'm just trying to get the Godhammer Assault Force. Did they mention all three? I feel like they mentioned all three. I mean, it was a whole 24 hours ago now, so obviously I can't remember anything that I actually read. Well, I can't remember, and I can't see where they've mentioned it, so maybe they did. I'm not going to go through this again. What I am going to do is go through the three detachments. So the first detachment, I'm sure they mentioned in this article, but never mind, is called the Companions of Vehemence, and it's such a weird name that's why I thought they'd mentioned it in the article. I'm sure they did somewhere. So the detachment rule is simply that you can re-roll advance and charge rolls made for Adeptus Astartes units in this army. So that is pretty useful. Re-rolling advance and charge rolls. Now, obviously you know as well as I do that you cannot charge after you've advanced, so maybe there's some ways around that. Maybe there's some synergy that we can find in this codex that will help this detachment really shine. So, firstly, let's have a look at some enhancements. The first one is called Incendiary Animus, and this is for a chaplain or a judicia, the model only. It will improve armor penetration characteristics of melee weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit by 1. So everything in the unit, the AP goes up by 1. And while I'm discussing this, I might as well discuss the points as well. So this Incendiary Animus is 25 points. The next one is Oathbound Exemplar. An Adeptus Astartes infantry model only. Add 1 to advance rolls made by the bearer's unit. If the mission pack you are playing features actions, which of course the latest one does, you know, the chapter approved or whatever it's called, the bearer's unit is eligible to start to perform an action in a turn in which it advanced. So that's absolutely brilliant in my book. You know, to be able to do an action after you've advanced is an ability that I can't think of any unit in the game that has that. A lot of people will think, oh well, I've got assault weapons, so I can advance and shoot and still, you know, do my action or whatever. But no, you can't. It's clear in the rules of the game that if you fall back or you advance, you can't perform an action. So you can't do cleanse, you know, whatever, and similar missions like that. So that's very good, and as a result, that is also 25. No, it isn't actually. Sorry, it's 15 points. I can't read basic English. 15 points that is, and I think that's well worth it. The next one is Merciless Denunciation, and again this is a chaplain or a judicia model only. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the hit roll. So 3 re-rolls to hits, pretty nice. That one is 25 points. And the final enhancement for this Companions of Vehemence is called Zealous Vanguard, and it's an Adeptus Astartes model only, and models in the bearer's unit has Scout 6. So you can give a unit Scout, and that's 20 points. So now let's go on to the stratagems. We have 6 stratagems here. So remember, the army rule is that your units can advance and can re-roll their advance and charge rolls. Okay. So we have a stratagem here called Devout Push. It happens in the fight phase. You target one Adeptus Astartes infantry unit that has not been selected to fight until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes a pile-in or a consolidation move, it can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. The restriction here is that a unit cannot be targeted with this and the Hearts Hardened to Duty stratagem, which is the next one I'm going to read, in the same phase, unless it has the chaplain or judicia keyword. So you can already see that with this detachment, there's a lot of emphasis on chaplains and judicias. And so let's go on to this next one, as I just mentioned, the Hearts Hardened to Duty. This happens in the fight phase again, just before an Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army consolidates. That Adeptus Astartes infantry unit, the effect is, that was the target, the effect is, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a consolidation move, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, or the closest enemy unit, if the Suffer Not the Unclean to Live vow is active for it. So you can make a consolidation sort of anywhere you want, or your other one, the Devout Push, you can make a 6-inch consolidation, and pile-in actually. So there's two options there. In the fight phase, a little bit more manoeuvrability, and that's what this detachment gives you. The next one is called For the Emperor's Honour. And this is also, you'll be surprised to know, in the fight phase. I am sensing a theme here. One Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that's not been selected to fight this phase. The effect is that until the end of the phase, melee weapons equipped by models in your unit have precision. Okay, so you can give your unit precision. The fourth one is Pious Enmity. Again, in the fight phase, and again, target one chaplain or judicia unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack that targets an enemy unit, re-roll hit rolls of 1. If that target is a monster or vehicle, re-roll a wound roll of 1 as well. So that's kind of like a little mini Oath of Moment in a sense, isn't it? That you get the bone. I mean, you get the re-roll to hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. I mean, I know that's not the same as Oath of Moment, but it's a bonus to your hit and roll and wound roll. But it's just with 1 unit, and it must be a chaplain or a judicia unit. We have 2 others now. One is called Heresy Begets Retribution. And this is in your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fallback move. One chaplain or judicia unit from your army that is within 9 inches of that enemy unit and not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, they can make a retribution move. And to do so, roll a d6, and models in your unit move a number of inches up to the result. But your unit must end that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. When doing so, those models can be moved within engagement range of that enemy unit. And then the final one is called Dread Crusaders. And it's in your opponent's charge phase, just after an enemy has declared a charge. One Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that was selected as one of the targets of that charge, they can make the enemy unit take a battle shock test, subtracting 1 from the result. And those are the stratagems for Companions of Vehemence. And what you can see really is that there's a theme running through of taking Chaplain and Judicia units, and obviously that applies to any unit that can take them as a leader, and get extra maneuverability and extra options in the fight phase, and a bit more power in terms of rerolls and precision in the fight phase. So there's a few decent options there, I think. Now the next one is this one that they talked about here a little bit. So you've seen a bit of this, and it's called Vindication Task Force. And I don't think they've put the whole rule on here, or have they? Oh no, they have, actually, to be fair, they have. So yeah, it's each time an attack targets an ancient unit from your army, if that unit is within range of one or more objective markers and the strength characteristic of that attack is greater than the toughness characteristic of that unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So it's a little bit like the Wrath of the Rock type detachment rule. And I'll tell you now that there is only one datasheet in the Codex that is an ancient datasheet, and that is the new Crusader Ancient. Now obviously you can have the normal Ancient, or you could have a Blade Guard Ancient. So there's ways, I imagine, to add more Ancients into your army rather than just these 3 Crusader Ancients that you could have. And there's another very interesting thing about the Crusader Ancient as well, but we'll get onto that a bit later in this video. And then the second aspect, of course, of this detachment rule is each time a Crusader squad unit from your army makes a Righteous Zeal move, that unit can end that move as close as possible to the closest objective marker instead of as close as possible to the closest enemy. So again, flexibility here, the ability to move, and a Righteous Zeal move we'll get on to, but I think from memory it's essentially when, I think it might be when an enemy unit falls back, I think, you can then make a move, like a reactive move, and here this detachment ability allows you to move to the closest objective marker rather than the closest enemy. So again, sort of decent options here. But let's see if the enhancements are any good. The first one is called Imperialis of the Internal Crusade, and this is carried by an ancient model only. Each time an enemy unit selects the bearer's unit as a target of a charge, subtract 2 from the charge roll. And this is not cumulative with any other negative modifiers to that charge roll. So that's pretty good. If you're getting charged, subtract 2 from that enemy unit's charge. And that, if I can find it, is 15 points. The next one is called Consecrating Aura. I think they may have even mentioned this one in the article. Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? Look. Consecrating Aura, it's here. And as they say, it's an Adeptus Astartes model only. Models in the bearer's unit have a 5+ invulnerable save. And the cost of that is 25 points. The next one is called Orb of the Emperor's Aegis. An Adeptus Astartes model only. Models in the bearer's unit have the Deep Strike ability. And that is 10 points. So for only 10 points, you can essentially make any unit in your army, one of them, have a Deep Strike ability. And it says an Adeptus Astartes model. So I'm just thinking, are the tanks Adeptus Astartes models? I mean, they are, aren't they? So like, you could Deep Strike in your Land Raider or something? I mean, I don't know. We'll get onto that. Let's think about that later. And the final enhancement for this detachment, called the Vindication Task Force, is called Warden of Honor. And it's a Crusade Ancient model only. So it's not just even an Ancient model. This is the Crusade Ancient model only. While the bearer is leading a unit, each time you roll 1d6 for the bearer's Vengeful Exhortation ability, you can add 1 to the result. So just remember that the Crusade Ancient has an ability called Vengeful Exhortation, and you can add 1 to it if he is carrying this enhancement. And I think I know what that is from memory. It's essentially it's fight on death. So when any model in the Crusade Ancients unit dies, on a 4-up they can fight in any phase that they die. So this will be, now you can do it on a 3-up. I think that's what it is. How much was that one? Warden of Honour. That is 20 points. So let's move on now to the stratagems, and they've already showed you one stratagem here. So that's this one, refusal to yield. And again, so whereas the last detachment, the theme was all on chaplains and judiciaries, obviously the theme with this detachment is ancients. And we've seen that with the enhancements, and we're now seeing it with the stratagems. So in any phase, just after an ancient model from your army is destroyed, that ancient model is the target, and you can use this stratagem on that model even though it was just destroyed. The effect is that at the end of the phase, set your model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and not in engagement range of 1 or more enemy units with its full wounds remaining. You cannot target the same model with this stratagem more than once per battle. So that is brilliant. It's when you think that, you know, if let's say the ancient gets shot off the field with precision, and so he dies and leaves his squad, well, you can bring him back and he will rejoin the squad when he goes back on the table. And of course, if he's a Crusade Ancient, he will give them that ability to fight on death. So you don't lose that when you bring him back, and any other abilities that he might have. So that's very good. Very good stratagem. The next one is called Litanies of Purgation, and that is in the fight phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase has the effect that until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if that model's unit is within range of 1 or more objective markers, or the target unit is within range of 1 or more objective markers, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. So it's okay. It's a situational boost to your AP of 1 in the fight phase. The next one is Spore of the Unholy. This is in the shooting phase or the fight phase. You can target 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that's not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have ignore cover. And each time a model in your unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to the following. That attack's ballistic skill or weapon skill, or the hit roll. Sorry. So 3 things there. You can ignore any negative modifiers to your ballistic skill, weapon skill, or hit roll. Pretty useful. I mean, if you're shooting or fighting against something that's -1 to hit, then you just negate that. So that's very useful. And if you're shooting, as it says there, the enemy doesn't get cover. So that's a pretty useful stratagem for just 1 CP. I just wanted to check actually while I'm here whether any of the stratagems in the previous detachment were 2 CP. They weren't. They were all 1 CP. All of the ones I've read out so far are 1 CP, but there is a 2 CP one coming. It's not this one though. This is Reclaim Our Honor, and it's in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. So your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. So it could be either. Just after an enemy unit destroys an ancient model from your army that has not been targeted with the refusal to yield stratagem this phase, and remember the refusal to yield stratagem is the one on the screen there, it's the one of bringing them back after they die. So if that hasn't been used on the ancient, target 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army visible to that enemy unit. Until the end of the battle, each time an Adeptus Astartes model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the hit roll. You cannot target that ancient model with a refusal to yield stratagem this phase. Okay, so you're giving up your ancient. basically. So if your ancient dies, you have a choice. You can use refusal to yield and bring him back, or maybe you've already done that once, and you say, well, I can't use refusal to yield on this same model again, so I'm going to use reclaim our honor, and the unit that killed my ancient, I now get +1 to hit for the whole rest of the battle on any attack that anyone in my army makes against that unit. That's brilliant. That's a fantastic stratagem for 1 CP. And there are 2 more left in this detachment. I'm just going to take a small drink. I'm just reading this. This is not like an edited video or anything. I'm just going through in one go, so I'm getting slightly dry throat. Apologies. So the next one, 1 CP, it's called Recitation of the Revered. You use it in your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. Target 1 ancient unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. The effect is that until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So pretty straightforward. 1 CP, somebody shoots at your unit that has an ancient in it, that unit's now -1 to hit. Pretty useful. But here's this one, and I haven't read any of these, by the way, ever before. I'm just going through first time, so if I miss something or I don't understand first time, then please forgive me, but tell me if I've missed anything, please, in the comments. But this one is Perfervid Intervention. I might need to read that one a couple of times. Perfervid Intervention, so it's perfidious, I imagine. And this is 2 CP, so it better be good. It's at the end of your opponent's charge phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that is within 6 inches of 1 or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against 1 or more of those enemy units if it were your charge phase. It has the effect of that your unit now declares a charge that only targets 1 or more of those enemy units, and you resolve that charge. The restriction is, note that even if this charge is successful, your unit does not receive any charge bonus this turn. So this is kind of standard. It's a bit like a heroic intervention or other stratagems that allow you to charge. Quite a few factions have it. I think Space Wolves has got one, or Harlequins have one, or something. There's quite a few lying around in the game. You don't get fights first is basically what that's saying. So you do a charge, but you don't get fights first. So let's just go through it again. 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that is within 6 inches of 1 or more enemy units and would be eligible to declare a charge against 1 or more of those units if it were your charge phase. So this happens at the end of the opponent's charge phase, and it doesn't relate to any of their units that have charged, whether those units have charged or not. It's simply, if you are within 6 inches of an enemy unit and you would be able to charge if it was your charge phase, you can do it. So that's pretty massive. That's why it's 2 CP, because there's a lot of versatility there. There's a lot of times you're going to have a unit that just happens to be 6 inches away. Maybe you want to get onto an objective. You're 3 inches away from the objective or something, and there's a enemy unit sat on it, or just there's a target you want to engage, or there can be so many scenarios where you want to charge a unit, and now you can do that in their charge phase. And then when it comes to the fight phase, okay, you don't have fights first as an inherent ability, but you're still going to fight first, really. If you've charged a unit that hasn't charged anything, then you're gonna fight them first anyway. So the only time you wouldn't is if you charged into a unit that had charged itself, and then that unit is used to fight your charging unit. But it's still a brilliant stratagem. 2 points is a lot, but in the right time and place, that would be very powerful. So that's that. That is that second detachment. And then the third one, and there are only 3 in the book, is this Godhammer Assault Force, and they allude to it here. They talk about, and you can sort of guess, can't you, what it's about? It's all about transports, basically. So we've had one detachment all about chaplains and judiciaries, one all about ancients, and now this one is going to be all about vehicles and particularly transports. So the Godhammer Assault Force, the detachment rule is called Shock and Awe. And I'll read it now. Each time an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army declares a charge, if it disembarked from a transport this turn, after selecting the targets of that charge, select one of those targets, and that enemy unit must take a battle shock test. Okay, I mean, not great. It takes quite a bit of setup there. You have to have a unit in a transport, they have to disembark, they then have to charge, they have to make the charge, the enemy unit takes a battle shock test, they have to fail the battle shock test, and this is also, you can either get onto an objective and claim it, because the enemy unit that's already on it now can't, if it fails its battle shock test, can't hold the objective, or you're getting into a fight, you're getting into combat with a unit that cannot use a stratagem. So that's really the benefits of this. I'm not blown away by that. But there is a second element to this rule, and it's each time a model in an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army makes a melee attack, if it disembarked from a transport this turn, add 1 to the hit roll. Okay, if you do a lot of disembarking, then this could be the one for you, but I don't think it'll be the one I'm using, but there might be better things in it. So let's have a look at the enhancements. The first one is called Paragon of Fury, an Adeptus Astartes model only. Add 2 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. Each time a melee attack made by the bearer is allocated to an enemy model, if the bearer disembarked from a transport this turn, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. So this only one model benefits from this enhancement, and you're giving a character +2 to strength, and if it disembarked from a transport this turn, you also add 1 to damage. Well, I mean, if you can use that with something like the Emperor's Champion, that could be particularly nasty. And you'll find out later on in this video why, because the EC has had a bit of a glow up. Let's just say that. So that one may have some play. Let's see how much it cost. The Paragon of Fury is 25 points. So, wow. GW obviously thinks it's a good enhancement. The next one is called the Battle Psalm Precentor. The Battle Psalm Precentor. Weird. Okay. The Adeptus Astartes, an Adeptus Astartes model only. Each time the bearer's unit declares a charge, if an enemy unit takes a battle shock test as a result of the shock and awe detachment rule, subtract 1 from that battle shock test. So this is linked obviously to the detachment rule. As I say, we've just talked about how if you disembark and charge, the enemy has to take a battle shock test. Well, they'll be taking it at -1 if your unit has this enhancement. How much is this? Yeah, this is only 10 points, so pretty limited in power, really, I would say, or usability. The next one is called Augury Servo Host, an Adeptus Astartes model only. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 12 inches of and visible to the bearer. Until the end of the phase, models in that unit cannot have the benefit of cover. So you're taking away cover from a unit that is within 12 inches of the bearer of this enhancement. Okay, that's not bad. 15 points, so again, not super powerful, not super expensive. The last one, though, is called Herald of Sacred Slaughter, an Adeptus Astartes model only. In the declare battle formation step, if the bearer starts the battle embarked within a dedicated transport, so we're looking at an impulsor here, that dedicated transport has Scout's 9-inch ability. And that's not bad. You know, you can just, at the start of the battle, you just charge your impulsor 9 inches forward, and maybe you've got a whole squad of Crusaders or Sword Brethren inside it. And that's before you make your move, you know, if you go first. Not bad. And that one is called... What is that one called? Not called. Costed at 15 points. 15 points. So again, okay, not too expensive. Now, let's move on to the stratagems. So the last 6 stratagems. And these, I imagine, will be different in theme to the other ones, and will revolve around vehicles, I imagine. So the first one is called A Ceaseless Cause, and it's at the end of the fight phase. One Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that was eligible to fight this phase. The effect is, if your unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches. It cannot embark within a transport at the end of this move if it disembarked from a transport this turn. So, let's just unpack that one a little bit. If you've got an infantry unit that has fought and has killed an enemy unit, so it's no longer in engagement range of any of the enemy units, it can make a 6-inch move. And it cannot embark within transport if it disembarked this turn. But if it didn't disembark this turn, then you can embark. So you can fight, move 6 inches, and then embark into the nearest transport. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. 1 CP. I'm sure it would be useful in maybe to protect more squishy sort of glass cannon type units. The next one is called Uncompromising Egress, and you use it in your movement phase, and the target is one Land Raider model from your army that has not been selected to move this phase. One Adeptus Astartes unit embarked within your Land Raider can disembark, and when doing so, models in that unit can be set up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 6 inches of your Land Raider, and can be set up within engagement range of one or more enemy units. That's pretty good. Now you have to think as well that a Land Raider has the ability called Assault Ramp, which I think I'm right in saying means you can advance, disembark and charge. So, wow. So this seems very powerful for 1 CP. You can just charge your Land Raider down the battlefield. I think they move like 10 inches. And then drop your squad of your Crusader squad or Sword Brethren or whoever 6 inches away from the Land Raider, and then you can charge. Wow. I think that's right, isn't it? Like the assault ramp lets you do that. Lets you disembark and then charge. Should we just check that? Right, while I'm here, because I think that's fairly crucial to understanding this detachment, whether it's got any power. Assault ramp. Each time a unit disembarks from this model, after it has made a normal move, that unit is still eligible to declare a charge. Ah, I see. Right, okay. I'm getting a bit confused then, I think, with the Rhino assault keyword, which enables you to disembark after the Rhino advances, but you can't charge. This is where the Land Raider can make a normal move, and then your squad can disembark, and then it can still shoot and charge. So that, I think, is very powerful. The fact you can set it up within 6 inches of your Land Raider rather than 3. And also the fact that it can be set up within engagement range. So you don't even have to charge. You can just throw them out there, and they're immediately in combat. God, that is actually quite powerful. So if you're 16 inches away, think about this. If you're 16 inches away from the army, from an enemy army unit, you can just move your Land Raider up 10, disembark your guys within 6 inches, and automatically put them into combat. Jesus. I think that will have some use, let's just say. The next one is called Gauntlet of the God Emperor, and this is in your movement phase again. Target one Adeptus Astartes vehicle model from your army that has not been selected to move this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time your model makes a normal or advance, it can move horizontally through terrain. Wow, that is unbelievably useful. So anytime any vehicle that you've got that is stuck or needs to go round a wall or a piece of terrain, you just play this 1 CP, play this stratagem, go straight through. Very powerful. The next one, another one for 1 CP, is called Focused Hatred. Your charge phase, just after you make a charge roll for an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has disembarked from a transport this turn. You target that Adeptus Astartes unit, and the effect is until the end of the phase, each time your unit makes a charge move, models in your unit can move through models. When doing so, its models can move within engagement range of enemy models, but they can only end that move within engagement range of enemy models if those enemy models belong to a unit that your unit declared the charge against them this turn. Okay, so maybe not as useful, but maybe just in the right set of circumstances it would be powerful. So if you have a unit that disembarks from a transport, I suppose what it's doing is it's allowing you to get all of them into the fight. So if you've got 20 Crusaders in a squad and a couple, 1 or 2 characters with them, that's a lot. A lot of bodies in a unit to get into combat. So all you can do is make a charge and then a 3-inch pile-in to get everybody. But if you can move through models, the other thing is you can't be screened out then by like some little weak unit right in front of the juicy target behind. You can just charge straight through. Wow, I think that has some play, but obviously only works when you've disembarked from a transport. So slightly situational, but if you set it up, then you can really spring a big surprise on someone there, I think. The penultimate stratagem in the book is called Condemnatory Info Screed. I mean, that just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? That's a real pithy little name. This happens in your fight phase. One Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase has the effect that until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if it disembarked from a transport this turn, re-roll a wound roll of 1. If that transport has the Land Raider keyword, re-roll all wounds instead. So, pretty good. Again, I mean, you can combine this with some of the others, can't you? If your unit is coming out of a Land Raider, I mean, my God, like the things you can do with them. You can set them up 6 inches away, or you can just get them to charge straight through one of the enemy's units and through into another one, and then you just re-roll all your wound rolls. I mean, fucking hell, like that is... no wonder they call this the God Hammer Assault Force. If you just spring this on someone, you're going to just massacre whatever unit you target, I think. Well, that is powerful. And then this last one is called Blessed Hull, and it's 2 CP. And it's in your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. Target one Adeptus Astartes vehicle unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to a model in your unit, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. I mean, for 2 CP, I mean, well, in the right circumstance, it could be powerful, couldn't it? You've got to keep this transport or this vehicle alive. Well then, yeah. But I mean, it's not really that much use against sort of D6 weaponry, sort of real anti-tank weaponry, is it? But let's say you're being shot by a load of noise marines or something, or attacked by damage 2 or damage 3 Terminators or something like that. Then you just reduce Reduce the damage characteristic of the attack by 1. Not sure. I don't know. So I feel like it's a slightly mixed bag, that Godhammer Assault Force, but maybe in the hands of a skillful player, that can really do some damage. Really spring a few surprises on people. So we're 45 minutes into this video now, and we've gone through the detachments, the enhancements, and the stratagems. Not too bad. As I said, the next thing to do is go through the data sheets themselves. So I'm going to take a quick break and a drink, and then we'll continue. Okay, I'm back and refreshed. Okay, now, as I say, let's just go through these data sheets. These are the current ones, or the old ones, whatever you want to call them, as shown on New Recruit, which is an excellent sort of list building website. Go and support them, because they've done a fantastic job really with this. So without further ado, Chaplain Grimaldus. What has changed with old Grimaldus? Looking at his sort of immediate abilities right over the top there, his attributes, nothing has changed at all. Yep, he still has 4 up invulnerable save. All of the other attributes seem to be the same. He has his plasma pistol. He can supercharge it. He has an Artificer Crozius. Now, his Artificer Crozius is 6 attacks now, not 5. So that's gone up. Well done, Grimaldus. So that's great. Now, he does still have his Feel No Pain of 5+. And he has Templar Vows instead of Oath of Moment, of course. These litanies of the devout. I'm just checking here. Seem to be the same. So that's the same. So Grimaldus seems largely the same, except for these Temple Relic abilities here. It's still the same concept, that he selects 1 Temple Relic ability in the command phase, but they've slightly changed. So the first one, Banner of the Fallen Crusaders, is now called Banner of the Emperor Victorious, and you add 1 to advance and charge rolls made for this unit. So remember, the first detachment was re-roll advance and charges, so some synergy there with Grimaldus already. The second ability, which used to be Remnant of the Fallen Temple, it's now called Column from the Major Altar, and that is add 1 to the toughness characteristic of models in this unit. So he's lost his ability to advance or fall back and charge, and he's lost his Feel No Pain 5 up for the whole unit, and instead he has +1 to advance and charge, and add 1 to the toughness. And then the last one, which used to be Scepter of Anointing, improve armor penetration, that is called Water from the Stoop of Elucidation, and that is improve the armor penetration characteristic of melee weapons by 1. So it's the same, isn't it? Just been given a different name. Odd. Is there anything else to say about Grimaldus? Not really. He seems to have all the same key. Do you know what is very interesting? Did he not have grenades then? Because he has now. Unless it's somewhere else on this data sheet. No, if this data sheet is accurate on New Recruit, and he just says Infantry Imperium Tacticus Epic Hero. Well, Grimaldus now has Character, Epic Hero, Grenades, Chaplain, and Grimaldus. That can't be right, can it? That he didn't have those keywords before. I don't know, but either way, that's what he's got now. And he was 120 points, and has he gone up or down? I mean, has he really got any better or worse? He is now 100 points. So he's actually gone down 20. He's gained an attack on his Crozius. And his abilities, are they better or worse? I'd rather have a 5 up Feel No Pain than +1 toughness personally, but an advance and charge would be very useful, particularly in the detachment where you re-roll them. So I think I would have preferred his old abilities, but he's gone down 20 points and he's still very good. And you're still probably going to want to take him in your army. I mean, and he's also Grimaldus. Of course you're going to want to take him. He's the hero of Hell's Reach, goddammit. Right, on to Big Daddy. Big Daddy High Marshal Helbrecht. What's changed with him? Well, I'll tell you, the first thing is he now has 6 wounds, but his leadership is only 6. So he's got worse as a leader. Has a High Marshal Helbrecht, despite the fact he's been doing it for fucking hundreds of years. He's now suddenly worse as a leader. So 6 wounds, 6 up leadership. Oh, he also has OC3. I should mention that. So his OC has also gone up. So he can stand on an objective as well as a Rhino or a Demon Prince. Everything else is the same. Still got his invulnerable save. Let's have a look at his weapons. First weapon is the same. The Ferocity. Sword of the High Marshals. Still got the 2 profiles to choose from. They are exactly the same. Yeah, see, he's got the grenade keyword and the epic hero and stuff here on the actual new recruit data sheet. So I don't know whether they just missed it off by accident or something for Grimaldus, or whether he really didn't have grenades before, but he has now, which is good. But back to Helbrecht. So obviously he has Templar Vows instead of Oath of Moment. He has Crusade of Wrath. Is this the same? No, it isn't. So it used to be that he would add 1 to the strength of melee weapons, and he would give a critical hit on a roll of a 5. Well, he's lost that now. He's lost the critical hit on a 5. What he does add, though, is +1 to attacks and strength of melee weapons by models in his unit. So every model in his unit is getting an extra attack. And let's look at the units that he can command. He can command a Crusader squad. He can command Assault Intercessors. He can command Sword Brethren. That's going to be a lot of attacks. And he gives each model in that unit an extra 1. So that could be good. And then he has the High Marshal ability. And it looks like it hasn't changed. Let me just check. 2 to 3, suffers D3 mortal wounds. Yeah, 3 mortal wounds, and then D3 +3. Yeah, it seems to be, I believe, the exact same ability. Oh, hang on though. What's this? Oh, hang on a minute. There's one extra little caveat here. The new one says at the start of the fight phase, select an enemy unit within engagement range of this model's unit, and roll 1d6, but adding 1 to the result for every 5 models in the model's unit. In this model's unit. Holy shit, right? Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just reading this for the first time. So if you're in a Crusader squad, which can be 20, you would add 4 to the result of that d6. Wow. So you are rolling a 5 or a 6 basically, aren't you? Which means, well, on a 6 you've got a good chance of rolling a 6, so which means the enemy unit takes d3 +3 mortal wounds. That's better. Well, that's great. I mean, he lost his crit on a 5, but he's still got everything else. And he's got that slightly improved High Marshal ability. Yeah, okay. I still think he's good. Now, he was 120 points. He's now 100. So he's gone down 20. Yeah, I'm not unhappy about either of those two so far, Grimaldus or Helbrecht. I think they're fine. This is the one I really want to talk to you about, the Emperor's Champion. Now, everybody loves the Emperor's Champion, and he's a character that needs to be represented well on the battlefield. You know, I mean, he's the embodiment of the wrath of the Emperor. So, does he live up to it in the new Codex? Well, one thing that has changed in his sort of attributes on his datasheet is he now moves 8 inches, not 6. So this guy's going to be speeding around the battlefield, charging around, challenging people. He has lone operative. Did he have that before? Apparently not, according to new recruit. So he's got lone operative. Big bonus. His bolt pistol is exactly the same, but his melee weapons aren't quite. The black sword in the strike profile not only has precision, it has anti-character 5+. Apart from that, it is exactly the same, and so is the sweep profile. But anti-character 5+ is going to be excellent against, well, I suppose, really tough characters. Mind you, you'd need like I mean, you would need to be attacking something that's toughness 16, wouldn't you? I mean, to benefit from it, because you're going to be wounded on a 5 anyway, less than that. So what's the use of that? Well, let's have a look at some of his other abilities here. He has Armour of Faith, which replaces Skillful Parry. Once per phase, when a melee attack... Sorry, I'll read that again. I was reading the data sheet. It used to be once per phase when a melee attack is allocated to this model. It isn't now. It's once per phase when an attack is allocated to this model and the saving throw is failed. You can change the damage characteristic of that attack to 0. So that is immediately way better. This new ability, Armour of Faith. It's not just when you're in the fight phase. If you get shot as well and you fail your invuln save, you can just go, well, that's okay. It was 0 damage anyway. That's massive. That's brilliant. Really helped keep him alive. And then he also has a second ability called Sigismund's Heir. And before, that was each time a model makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, add 1 to the wound roll. Pretty nice. Now it reads like this. Each time this model's unit declares a charge, if one or more targets of that charge have the character keyword, add 2 to the charge roll. Also, once per battle, when this model's unit is selected to fight, if that unit is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy character units, this model can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, melee weapons equipped by this model have devastating wounds. And that's the point of the anti-character 5+. It's for the devastating wounds. So this guy moves 8 inches. He's going to pick a character unit in your opponent's army. Doesn't matter who. Could be someone. Could be Azrael in a load of Hellblasters or Inner Circle or something like that. Or it could be a Demon Prince. Could be absolutely anything. And he's going to charge you with +2 to the charge roll after moving 8 inches. And then when he attacks you, he's going to be doing devastating wounds on a 5. And that is 3 damage. And you're just taking them. No save for you unless you have some sort of forlorn feel no pain. So I think the Emperor's Champion has had a massive upgrade, frankly. Yeah, that's him. And combined with everything else, the detachment rules and the vows and everything, I mean, he's going to be an absolute beast, I think. So, has he gone up in points? He was 75. The Emperor's Champion is now 90 points. So he's gone up 15 points. I think that's totally fair. You're going to take him. You're going to wish you could take more than one, but you can't. The Castellan. So, the Castellan. Has anything changed on his profile? No. Not in terms of his attributes. His weapon, anti-infantry 4, devastating wounds, rapid fire. Yeah, this is all the same. He can also take a heavy bolt pistol. I'm not sure whether he could take that before, but he could take a heavy bolt pistol if he wants. Melee weapons. He now has a choice of 2 melee weapons. If he didn't before, it doesn't look like. I mean, I haven't put it here that you can. Maybe you always had this choice. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the actual app. I'm just looking at this data sheet here. But his choices are an Astartes chainsword with sustained hits on it, or a mastercrafted power weapon which has lethal hits on it. And you'll notice that this is going to be a theme that runs through this codex. Astartes chainswords now have sustained, and mastercrafted power weapons now have lethal. Okay, that's on everything. Sword Brethren, Crusaders, all your Black Templar units. His Astartes chainsword has 7 attacks hitting on a 2. Strength 4, -1, 1 damage. His mastercrafted power weapon now does 6 attacks rather than 4. So this guy's become a fucking beat stick in the fight phase. What else can you do? You can still take him in a unit that already has a captain or a chapter master. Looks like he's kept all the same keywords. These are his abilities. Oh, sorry, I should just say it looks like he can still lead the same units as well. Yeah. So what did he have before? He had target priority, eligible to shoot and declare a charge after falling back. And he had tactical precision. When you're leading, you get lethal hits. Well, you're not going to need that because he's got lethal hits if you take his power weapon, and probably so is the unit he's leading. So his abilities are new, brand new. The first one's called Vehement Aggression. While this model is leading a unit, each time that unit is selected to fight, take a leadership test for that unit. If you pass it, then you re-roll all hit wounds, and if you fail it, then you just re-roll hit wounds of 1. That's it, no detriment. You're either going to get, every time you attack a unit, I'm sorry, I'm just checking, is this just melee, or while this model is leading a unit, each time that unit is selected to fight, yeah, okay, so it's just the melee, it's just in the fight phase. You can either, you take a battle shock test, or a leadership test rather, and then you're either going to get all rerolls, or rerolls to all hits, or rerolls to hit rolls of 1. Pretty good. And then the next one is Prioritized Eradication. Each time a model in this model's unit makes a melee attack, if you destroy 1 or more enemy units, roll a d6 on 4+, gain a CP. Brilliant. He's now pretty much going to be an auto take, really, isn't he? I mean, he's the way you can get extra CP. And he gives, great utility to the unit he's leading, and he hits like a fucking truck in himself in combat. So brilliant, and you've got to think you could put enhancements on him to improve it even more. I'm sure there's things you can do with him to make him even more powerful. He was 60 points, he's now 75. So that just shows you how he has gone up in power. Next one, Marshal. Anything changed? 3 up, 4 up, 5, leadership 6, OC1, yeah, all the same. He can take a combi weapon with anti-infantry 4, devastating wounds and rapid fire. I'm not sure whether he could always take that. He can still take his plasma pistol. It's all the same. Now his melee weapon, his mastercrafted power weapon, he's lost an... no, sorry. He's gained an attack. He now, like the Castellan before him, who gained attacks on his weapons, the Marshal has gained an attack. He now... and it's strange because the mastercrafted power weapon does 6 attacks when a Castellan wields it, but does 7 attacks when a marshal wields it. And it still has the lethal hits. Still hit on 2s, strength 5, minus 2 AP, 2 damage. So he's gained an attack and he's gained lethal hits. What has he lost? He must have lost something. So he's got his Templar vows, of course. He has an ability called Inspirational Exemplar. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of 5 scores a critical hit. And you'll notice that none of these characters give the unit lethal hits, you know, and that's they don't need to. They don't have to be a Lord Exultant with Infractors or something. They don't need to give their units lethal hits, and you'll see that because they've all got lethal hits anyway, pretty much. But what he is giving you is those lethal hits on a 5. So that's powerful. He's got the ability that Helbrecht lost, I suppose. He also has another one called Pious Fervour. Each time this model's unit is selected to fight until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of this model's mastercrafted power weapon for each enemy unit within 6 inches of this model to a maximum of +3. So now he can do 10 attacks with his mastercrafted power weapon if he's surrounded by units. Okay, situational, but I mean if he's on his own and he's got charged by 3 different units, then he's going to take one of them out at least. What did he lose? I mean, he lost once per battle at the start of the fight phase, 3-2 attacks and devastating wounds, and then rights per battle once in this ability. So it's like the captain's ability of reducing stratagem cost, which is nice. It is a very nice ability. He's lost that, but he's now just more of an out-and-out brawler. So that's the Marshal. He was 75 points. He's now 80. So he's gone up 5. Okay, well, tell me what you think about that. We're then going to get onto the Primaris Crusader Squad. Now, we don't have a Primaris Crusader Squad anymore because there's now no difference. There's no Primaris or any other Crusader. It's just a Crusader Squad. Let's have a look. Looks to be the same in terms of the attributes. Weapons, is there any difference that I can see in the weaponry? No, not really. Well, the Astartes chainsword, still 4 attacks, but as I say, now has sustained. So that's a boost. And the mastercrafted power weapon that the Sword Brother will use, as I say, has lethal hits on it. Still 3 attacks. Everything else seems fairly the same as it was before, I think. You know, you can take Pyre pistols and Pyre blasters. So, let's have a look at the abilities. Yeah, you've still got the ability that any leader who can lead an intercessor squad can lead a Crusader squad. Whereas Righteous Zeal used to be reroll, advance and charge rolls, well, you get that through one of the detachments now, don't you? So that would be redundant. So they've given it a new ability. So the Crusader squad's new ability is still called Righteous Zeal, but it is this now. In your opponent's shooting phase, each time an enemy unit has shot, if any models in this unit were destroyed as a result of those attacks, this unit can make a Righteous Zeal move. To do so, roll 1d6 and add 2 to the result. Models in this unit move a number of inches up to this result, but the unit must end that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. And when doing so, those models can be moved within engagement range of the enemy unit. This unit cannot make a Righteous Zeal move if it's battle shocked or within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, and it can only make 1 Righteous Zeal move per phase. So you remember we talked about that. Was it part of one of the detachment's rules that that this Righteous Zeal move doesn't have to be actually towards the closest unit? You can move it towards the closest objective or something instead. I can't remember, we talked about that earlier. Was that stratagem, or was it like an army rule? So, but that's what that is. Righteous zeal. I can't see any other change, really. So, in terms of points, have they gone up or down? If I get my notes here, which are hopefully correct. A Crusader squad is 150 points for 10 and 300 for the 20. I think that might be slightly cheaper. Wasn't it 310 for 20 before? I'm not sure. I'll tell you what, though, they have lost Scout. They have lost Scout, which is up there, isn't it? So no more Scout for Crusader squads, but other than that, they get sustained and lethal, and they get this Righteous Zeal move. Tell me what you think. I'm not sure. Jury's out on that one for me. Next one will be the Primaris Sword Brethren. Well, again, there is no Primaris Sword Brethren anymore. They are just the Sword Brethren squad. Has anything changed? No, not with the attributes. Heavy bolt pistol. Can take plasma pistols, pyre pistol. The Astartes chainsword is now 6 attacks, so it's gone up 1, and it has sustained. Yeah, so they've gained an attack and sustained, and as I say, the Mastercrafted power weapon, that has lethal hits on it. It's 3 attacks. Thunderhammer still has devastating wounds. Lightning claws still have twin linked. Is there anything else? Well, this has changed. Their ability was Vowsworn Bladesman, where you could either add 1 to your attack or 1 to the damage of your weapons. What they have now is something called Exploit Their Cowardice. Each time an enemy unit within engagement range of this unit is selected to fall back, after it ends that fallback move, if this unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, this unit can make a normal move. So essentially, if you're engaged with just 1 enemy unit and it falls back, you can then just move. Just make a normal move anywhere. I'm not sure. I mean, nothing sort of springs to mind of any specific use to that, but I mean, it's just a general use, isn't it? The fact that you could move. Let's say your opponent their unit has the ability to fall back and charge. Well, guess what? They fall back from you, thinking, "Ha, I'm going to charge you," and then you just make a move in the opposite direction, 6 inches. Very useful in that circumstance. I'm sure there'll be loads of other times where you'd use that as well, but that's their ability. So not just the sort of out and out, damage dealing ability that they used to have, but maybe more useful. And as I say, more attacks and sustained hits. So hopefully be just as useful and just as lethal. In terms of points, there were 140. Interesting. Sword Brethren is 115 for 4 models, 140 for 5 models, 255 for 9 models, and 280 for 10. I don't know whether that's the same or not. I mean, 140 for 5 is the same, isn't it? You tell me if that's changed or anything, but I don't know whether it has or not. And then we're on to the Sternguard Veteran Squad. And I think these guys are the ones that have possibly suffered the most. They're the ones that really, I thought, well, they're not as good as the normal Sternguards, I don't think. But let's see, what did they have before? Firstly, their ability, their attributes haven't changed. Sternguard bolt pistol. It's all looking the same. Sternguard bolt rifle. I think it's all pretty much the same. Close combat weapon. Now, very interestingly, this is the squad where their Astartes chainsword does not have sustained on it. So the Sternguard just miss out for some reason. They have 6 attacks on the chainsword. The close combat weapon stays at 4 attacks. Nothing much seems to have changed. Yeah, nothing really seems to have changed apart from, I think, their ability. So it used to be, each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets your Oath of Moment target, you can re-roll the wound roll. It's not that now. It's each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets the closest eligible target, re-roll a wound roll of 1. Not impressed with them. I think they have potentially suffered there a little bit. They were 100 points. Stern God Veterans are now 85 points for 5. So there you go. They have gone down in power and appropriately gone down in cost as well. Now, the Terminator squad. What's changed here? Nothing with their attributes. Stormbolter is a Stormbolter. Heavy Flamer. Melee weapons, Chain Fist, Anti-Vehicle 3, Power Fist, 3 attacks. All looks the same. So let's have a look. Apart from the Templar Vows, obviously. They still have Deep Strike, obviously. They still have Teleport Homer, obviously. All of that is exactly the same. But instead of Fury of the First, which was each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets your Oath of Moment target, add 1 to the hit roll. They have something called Judgment of the Weak. Each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, within engagement range of this unit falls back, all models in that enemy unit must take a desperate escape test. When doing so, if that enemy unit is battle shocked, subtract 1 from each of those tests. Well, as you know, a desperate escape, if you fail a desperate escape test, you lose the model. So, I mean, that could be potentially absolutely lethal. It could just wipe a character, or it could, wipe, a third of a unit of 10 or something. I think that's an improvement, personally. 170 points they're now 175, so they've gone up a tiny bit. I think I like that ability. Not sure how others feel about it, but I think I like that ability. Now, the Black Templar's Gladiator Lancer. I'm just going to say I think these are exactly the same as they were. I don't think there's any changes at all to these. I may be wrong, but I will keep looking. No, I couldn't see any change to that one. The Reaper. I mean, they are... Oh, hang on a minute. We've found one. So the Gladiator Reaper, instead of rotating death, which is this model's twin heavy onslaught Gatling cannon has sustained hits 2 against infantry, it now has this model's twin heavy onslaught Gatling cannon has sustained 2 while targeting infantry. So that is exactly the same, I think, isn't it? They've just called it Reaping Tally instead of rotating death. So for some reason they've decided to... No, it is exactly the same weapon. I thought it was different. Everything is the same. Everything's the same. So, yeah. What about the Valiant? I'm guessing I would put my house on this being exactly the same as well. It used to have Ferocious Assault. It now has something called Priority Target Acquisition, but it appears again to be exactly the same ability. Yes, it is. Okay, so the 3 Gladiator variants are all the same. In terms of cost, they used to be all 170. They are now all 160. So each Gladiator has gone down 10 points. So have that. So if you're running 3 Gladiators, you've just got 30 points back. Cool. Now, the Black Templar's Repulsor. I'm going to guess this is exactly the same story here. Can't see anything different. Can take 14 Adeptus Astartes, yeah. So it used to have something called Emergency Combat Embarkation. this is different. Okay, I think this is different. So, the repulsor used to have emergency combat embarkation. Once per turn, in your opponent's charge phase, after an enemy unit is selected targets for its charge, but before it makes its charge move, you can select one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that was selected as a target of that charge, provided that unit is not within engagement range of any enemy units, and every model is within 3 of this transport, it can embark. The charging unit can now select new targets. Okay, so if you're next to your transport and you're the target of a charge, you can get in. That's pretty good, isn't it? But it doesn't have that anymore. It has something called stabilised disembarkation. And in your opponent's shooting phase, each time an enemy unit is selected to shoot, after that unit has shot, if any of those attacks targeted this transport, it can use this ability. If it does, enemy units embarked within can disembark. When doing so, models in those units can be set up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 6 inches of this transport and not within engagement range of one or more of the enemy units. So if someone shoots your transport, so it used to be if someone wants to charge your unit, you can just get back in your tank, in your repulsor. It's now, if somebody shoots at your repulsor, you can get all the guys out of it and they deploy within 6 inches. Okay, so, I mean, you can screen against a charge, I suppose. I don't know, lots of maybe uses for that, but that's the difference. And the repulsor, has it changed in points at all? Let's have a look. It's now 180, so it's gone down 10. It's quite a lot of things have gone down, sort of 10 or 15 here, there. The repulsor executioner. I cannot see anything different. All looks the same to me. Transport 7. Yeah, that's all the same. Wow, here's something. The repulsor executioner now has an ability called Inception Strike. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit within 12 inches of one or more Adeptus Astartes units from your army, you can re-roll the hit roll. So that's instead of Executioner, isn't it? So instead of adding 1 to the hit roll when you're trying to finish off a target, if the target is near one of your other units, you can re-roll the hit roll. That could be very handy when you're down to your last 5 wounds and you're at -1 to hit. Well, then you get a second chance to hit with it, don't you? But that's the only change there. And the repulsor executioner used to be 230 points. It's now 220. So yet again, more points cuts for this. And what have we got left? We've got the trusty Land Raider Crusader, and we've got the Impulsor. So hopefully now we can rattle through this, and then we can get onto the 2 new data sheets in the Codex and finish off with them. The Land Raider Crusader. Well, the first thing I can see is that it now has a Hunter-Killer, which I can't see on here. I cannot see it on the new recruit sort of data sheet here. Yeah, it's funny that it's got grenades. Don't know why, but that's just strange. Hurricane Bolt, Rapid Fire Twin Linked. So all the same, I think. The thing about all of these tanks is you can put a multi-melter on them. Now, I don't know whether that's changed or whether you could do that anyway, or whether I just can't see it mentioned anywhere on New Recruit. So I'm looking here. Can you see multi-melter anywhere? No. So maybe that's the new thing that I've just neglected to mention here. You can put a so that takes 2 multi-melters. But you can put multi-melter on any of these weapons now, any of these vehicles rather now. What else has changed? It still has assault ramp, which is great, absolutely great, and ties in with some of the abilities and stratagems and things that we mentioned before. It's a transport. It has an additional ability, a new one, and this is called Legacy of Gerulus. In your shooting phase, after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. Until the end of the turn, each time a friendly model that disembarked from this transport this turn makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, re-roll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. So, if your Land Raider Crusader has shot a unit and then you disembark and you attack that unit, re-roll hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. And that is for this turn and its attacks, so that's shooting and combat. That's actually a very good ability, I think, and particularly, I mean, if you're playing the Godhammer detachment, where you're flying all over the place with Land Raiders, Jesus Christ, this could be, you're just compounding the damage. So that's that. I think that's the only change there with the Land Raider Crusader. It used to be 220 points. It is still 220 points, so despite the fact it's better, it hasn't got up in price. And then the last thing is the Impulsor. Now, don't know whether anybody cares too much about the Impulsor, but I will just see whether there's anything interesting about the Impulsor. Probably not. Still ugly. What else can it do? Well, you can put a multi-melter on it, as I said. Still transport. Still 7 Tacticus or Phobos. It's still an assault vehicle. And yeah, I think it still has the same sort of abilities. So I think, as far as I can tell at a short glance here, the Impulsor is the same. It was 90 points. It's now 80 points, so another 10-point reduction there. Okay, so that's that. That's all the changes to the existing data sheets. I am sorry that I'm getting very tired. It's like 3 a.m. So the final thing to go through is the 2 new characters. So I'll just read these out to you now, and you'll have seen data sheets and the previews that Games Workshop have already shown us. But to give you the full picture, the Execrator moves 6, toughness 4, has a 3-up, 4-up save, 4 wounds, leadership 5, which is very good, and 1 OC. Has an Absolver bolt pistol, 18-inch range, 1 attack, 3-up, 5 strength, -1, 2 damage. It's a pistol. Obviously, it has a Pyre pistol as well, which ignores cover and is torrent. Has 12 inches, D6, strength 4, 0 AP and 1 damage. Its melee weapons are a Crozius Arcanum, 5 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, -1, 2 damage, and a Mastercrafted power weapon, which has extra attacks. So if you dual wield this guy, he's going to be doing 8 attacks. And this Mastercrafted power weapon again has lethal hits, and it does 3 attacks. So you've got 5 with the Crozius, and then 3 more with lethal hits here with the power weapon. Hitting on 2, strength 5, -2, 2 damage. So in melee, he could be quite good if you dual wield him. He only gets 1 of those range weapons. He has the Absolver bolt pistol, and you can swap it for the Pyre pistol, or you can give him, as I say, those 2 melee weapons. He can lead a Crusader squad or a Sword Brethren squad. What does he give them? Well, he has 2 abilities. Remorseless Persecution. While this model is leading a unit, that unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. So, think about the synergy now. with the first detachment, where you can re-roll advances and re-roll charges. And you can advance and charge with this guy. I mean, that's obvious, but that's the first sort of little synergy there that is almost going to make this guy, an auto take. He also does a condemnatory annihilation. Each time this model's unit has fought, if one or more enemy units were destroyed as a result of those attacks, each enemy unit within 6 of this model must take a battle shock. I don't like that so much, but still, he's pretty good. And he has the keywords of infantry character grenades, Imperium Tacticus, Chaplain, and Execrator. So he's got the Chaplain keyword. So remember all the stratagems and the enhancements that can be taken by chaplains. If you go through this video, you can work it out. This guy could be, pretty powerful piece on the board. And then we come to the final datasheet and the second of the new characters that the Black Templars have got. And it's the Crusade Ancient. Movement 6, toughness 4, 3-up save, 4 wounds, leadership 6 and 1 OC. Now, immediately you think, well, he doesn't have an invulnerable save, and that is bad, but if you remember the one detachment we talked about, you can bring them back, you can do things on death. I mean, what was the stratagem you could use to to fight again or something? If he dies, can't remember now. Too tired. But yeah, so maybe doesn't need the invulnerable save. You can bring him back. He has a bolt pistol. It's just a bolt pistol. He also has a mastercrafted power weapon, and again lethal hits on it. And this is 5 attacks. Hits on 2, strength 5, -2/2 damage. Now he can lead Crusader squads and Sword Brethren squads, and he can lead that squad even if there's a captain, a chapter master, an execrator, or a lieutenant already in the squad. He can join them. So that is massive, really. So you can take this guy, and that's maybe another reason why you don't really need the invulnerable save, because they've got to get through the whole squad and another character potentially before they even get to him. But it's great that you can have him in a bigger squad, in a squad that's already a character unit. He has 2 abilities. One is called Vengeful Exhortation. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by a melee attack, if it has not fought this phase, roll a d6. On a 4+, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, and it is then removed from play. So do you remember there was the enhancement that made that a 3+ as well? So fight on death on a 3+, potentially. Pretty useful. And then his final ability is called Martial Honor. The first time a model in this model's unit makes a melee attack that destroys 1 or more enemy units until the end of the battle, while this model's unit is not battle shocked, add 5 to this model's objective control characteristic. So just think you can run around with 3 units with the Crusade Ancient in, and each one of those units becomes OC5 as soon as you destroy 1 enemy unit with your unit. He just then becomes OC5 on his own. So you get +4 OC to the unit. Pretty good. And as the game goes on and you're losing models, the fact that one of the leaders you've got in your unit is OC5, that's really going to help you keep the objective. So that's him and his keywords: infantry character grenades, Imperium Tacticus Ancient, and Crusade Ancient. And as I say, he's the only Ancient in the book. So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful. Oh, I will tell you the points as well of the Execrator and the Crusade Ancient, because you're going to need those. Almost forgot. The Execrator is 70 points, and the Crusade Ancient is 65. So, I'm guessing people are going to take multiples of those, frankly. And multiples of a lot of the other characters as well. Let me come back onto camera. I'm very tired now, but still excited about this codex and about the army. What did you think about that? I hope it made sense. I hope I read it clearly enough. From the notes I made and from what I've been sent. And yeah, do you believe it? Does this sound plausible to you? If so, how do you feel about the Black Templars? Is this better than you thought it was going to be? Are you already finding some synergies or have you got any army ideas as a result of this? Tell me, what do you think of the Black Templars? If you like the video, please like it and subscribe and comment and do all those things. But most importantly, tell me what you think of the Black Templars, because I really want to know. I think it's great. I'm pretty happy about the Codex, what seems to be coming, and I can't wait to, finish an army, get it on the table, and start killing some heretics with it. So if you feel the same, let me know. But until the next video, please take care, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.